Hey friends, it's Stephanie here. It's really me behind the camera. Believe it or not, you can't see me, but that's me. I am owner of Festive Creations, where we inspire and mentor others, as well as design beautiful things for your home. And we provide the supplies to make those beautiful things. And we teach you how to grow your online business. So come on in and say hey. All right. So this 10-inch frame. So this kit, which we're going to do today, comes with the 10-inch frame. It comes with a roll of the poly jute mesh in burgundy, red, and natural. It comes with our 5-inch, I think it's, hang on, I might be lying. It's a 6-inch by 5-inch, 6.5-inch by 5-inch MDF sign with pumpkins. My comment says, who doesn't love pumpkins? And all 3 rolls of this ribbon, including that cute pumpkin truck ribbon in there. So if you've never made a wreath with a 10-inch frame, you're going to be in for a surprise. 10-inch frame has 11 ties on them. So if you're used to working with a 15-inch frame, or maybe you do wreaths with your Dollar Tree frames, you will be pleasantly surprised what this 10-inch frame will do for you. So this one has 11 pencil ties on it, and I think it is, hang on, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the outside. 8, 9, 10, 11, oh, I lied, it's 12, right? 7, 8, 9, 10, it's 12. It's 12 frames. Review. All right, so if you do the math, when you get a roll of 10-inch mesh, it's 10 yards, right? So that's 360 inches. Divide that by your 12 pencil ties. That means that we can do 30-inch strips with our mesh. So that's exactly what we're going to do, is we're going to cut 30-inch strips of our mesh. And y'all, what's the one complaint everyone has about mesh? Y'all know what it is? One complaint everyone has got the same opinion when they work with mesh. Do you know what that is? We're going to do 30-inch strips. Patty, it frays. It frays. So people, I know some people who absolutely, hang on, let me see. In this case, they must have ended one roll and started another, and I saw that in there, so I'm going to stop right there. So what the method that we're going to use is one of the best methods that you can do to avoid fraying once you've made your wreath. So again, let's just cut our 12 30-inch strips. Okay, so as we already mentioned, one reason that people steer away or have a challenge with mesh is because it frays. So there's actually a method that you can use with your mesh that will decrease your fraying. So rule number 1 is you want to touch the mesh as few times as possible. All mesh will fray. This one actually does not fray very bad. This is that poly jute mesh. But if you use, this is called like the cruffle or the woodland ruffle method. And you just simply take the ends of it and you curl them in first. So now that frayed edge is on the inside of that curl. And so you do a curl on the end and then you ruffle it together. And I always put a little weight on it because it gets a little heavy. And hang on, let's do it. Let's do that over again. Curl that end, clip it. If you have a clothespin, that works just great. Then flip around the other side. And again, that cut edge, that raw edge is going inside of the curl. Give it a couple of little curls in. So now that's on the inside. And now when I add this mesh, to my wreath frame, the raw edges are actually on the inside of those curls. So they're not going to get touched and moved around, and I will have the least amount of fraying. This is a 30-inch piece of mesh, and I'm just going to place it on the outside of the rim here. When I use the outside of the rim versus putting it on the top, I'm touching it less often. Look how big that is. That's a 30-inch ruffle. Let's repeat that and go all the way around the outer rim of our wreath frame. And it actually goes pretty quickly. When you first start doing this, if it feels a little awkward, trust me, it gets easier. Curl. It does help to clamp that. I can actually do it without it, but I have to do it on my chest. You know, that's where the woman parts come in really handy. I just put it right across my chest, curl each end, and then I scruffle, bring it together. And I'm doing mine curl side up. You could turn it over and do curl side down. And I like to skip one and go here. And they lay nicer. They lay more smoothly for me when I skip one like that. Oh, all right. I'm going to skip this one and come over here. And again, I do that because it lays very nice for me. So it's kind of the same recipe. And you don't have to use this method, but it does definitely help cut down on fraying when you use this method. All right, so that's just the outer rim. That is just the outer rim. Hey, Christina. And so far, if you, using this 10-inch frame, we have a width of 22 inches wide. That is how large our base is, how wide the base is. And when you look at it, just the first, look at how thick that is already. So we're going to repeat that and do the 5 on the top row, on the top wire. So one roll of mesh for this wreath kit that comes with the wreath kit fills this 10-inch frame very, very well using these 30-inch cuts. And go in at a vertical, give it a couple of twists. Also, a little hint too is that when you add your mesh to your tensile ties or your pencil ties, you want to push that mesh as far down close to that wire frame as possible. So if you leave a gap or a space in there, what can and will happen over time is the mesh will begin to shift. So you want to get it as close to that wire frame as possible, and you want to give it a nice, good twist so that that mesh won't shift over time. Especially if you're new at wreath making. Those are some of those little wreath making tips that you just don't get. Let's see. We'll go right here. So get it as close, push it as far down in there as possible next to your wire frame. Then when you're doing your twist with your twist ties, I'm actually pushing that down while I'm twisting. So I get a really good tight twist in there. And now that mesh isn't going to go anywhere. All right. Let me find, I've got one here and one there. Make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. 10-inch frame. Look at how full that is. Look at the thickness of it. There's the back side of it. Nice and pretty. All right. Yes, that's only a 10-inch frame. Yes, ma'am. All right. So that's why we chose the smaller, this 6-inch by 7-inch sign to go on this one. But look how nice that looks on. So this is it comes out to be 22 inches in diameter. Still a nice size. So I'm going to take off my jute string, and I'm going to use my pipe cleaners. And for this one, I'm actually going to go kind of off to the side because I want to add bows to this and ribbon tails. So we're going to go off to the side a little bit and place our sign here. Of course, if you wanted to put it in the center, you could do that. If you wanted to put it at the top or the bottom, wherever you place your sign is up to you. I kind of like it offset a little bit. It's about 5 inches deep. So if you did not add a bow, it actually would be a little snug between the doors if you just wanted to do like ribbon tails. But it still would be pressed up against the door because right now it's sitting at 5 inches. Have y'all seen my handy dandy electric stapler? This was my son's idea. It was the best suggestion I've ever had. And then my husband ended up buying me one. Look, if you've got arthritis or just problems with grip and strength in your hands, this guy is my savior. Because my old staple gun, I was having to use both hands and it hurt like heck to put staples in. This one, little to no effort. The big problem as a newbie, what I did, and I see it happen commonly with other people, is that we're more concerned about securing it than we are. Hang on, let me see how I want to word this. We think it's going to fall off. So we want to tie it on tight. And when you're trying to pull your bow and tie it to your wire frame, you're smashing it into the mesh. So it just needs to float on top. And I'm going to give you an example. When you add bows, you never want to put a bow in a twist tie. Because think about it, that's your lowest point. You want to actually put your bow on top of the mesh in between twist ties. When you're adding your signs and things like that, you want to avoid, hang on, I got a little stringy with my glue there. You want to avoid pulling it so tight that it's smashing your mesh down. So let me take this and let me feed it through, and then I'm going to show you the difference. All right, let me turn it over. All right, so I've got my pipe cleaners kind of fed through here. I don't need to pull tight. I don't need to pull these really tight. I just need it to be secure enough that it's not going to wiggle. A little wiggle's good, a lot of wiggle's not. I'm just going to look. All right, see how it's just kind of resting on top? And look, when I shake it, it's not going anywhere. But as a newbie, I remember, let me get that twist tie back out. I remember trying to pull it really tight and it would smash my wreath or my mesh down. You just want it resting softly on there, snug enough that it's not shifting. So it's snug, it's straight, and it looks good right where it's at. So I'm just going to finish turning these. I'm ready to play with some ribbon now. Look. So in this wreath kit, we actually gave you 3 entire rolls of ribbon, 1 2.5-inch ribbon and 2 1.5-inch ribbons. So we're going to play ribbon. And remember, this has 12 twist ties on it. So we only need 12 ribbon tails. We're actually going to do, we're going to have fun with this ribbon. So for this one, I really only recommend 12-inch ribbon strips. My board is a 13-inch strip, so I'm just going to modify it, and they're going to be 12-inch when I get done with them. So I only need 12 tails of each color. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is where a spool holder comes in really handy, because then I don't have that hot mess. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm actually working on my blog right now, is doing a blog post about the 12, like the top tools you would need as a beginner. Just the basic things like your scissors and things like that. But like stuff like this is extra. Those are, put on your wish list for Christmas. You don't need a ribbon tail board. You don't need a spool holder, right? So if you're like the rest of it, that's trying to watch our P's and Q's and our pennies, get the basics. You don't need a rotary cutter. You can cut mesh with scissors. But I definitely would put the money into a good pair of scissors. And these are my Fiskars that have never been sharpened. And I've been using them since 2017. So I'm going to take my 12-inch, because I made the dovetails just a little bit deeper, my 12-inch ribbon, and I'm going to add my cute little truck. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to put my gingham check underneath there and then my cute truck on top. I'm going to fold that in half, give it a little pleat, and I'm going to add that to my wreath and my twist tie. So I'm going to use all 3 of these ribbons in my wreath tails, my ribbon tails. And look at that. How pretty. I love that with that truck. It is hard to believe that 10-inch frame is looking the way it is. What do you guys think? All right, so we did ribbon tails all the way around on the outside. You got home yesterday. Awesome, Becky. Well, I'm glad you made it home safe. Now we're going to add some tails to the top. Okay, now that we have that completed, this is where, so now that you have the ribbon tails, it's a little bit better to visualize this. I would not want to add a bow in here because it would cause the bow to suck into the wreath. So you would want to put a bow on the high spots, right? So something that's standing out here or right in this area, depending on what bow you want to do, or if you want to do multiple bows, mini bows. This is also one of those wreaths where I feel like adding a bow with all 3 ribbons may actually get lost in here. So you may want to consider just making a bow with a single ribbon or just milder colors. Actually, you know what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to make one with this green, this moss green polka dot. And let's do some tails. So I'm going to do about a 12-inch tail. And I'm going to do about a 5-inch loop. And we're going to do 2 loops on each side. Cut that off at another 12-inch tail. I'm going to do one more center loop. Look at that. Okay, you can't see it very well, but okay. So again, I'm not going to go where there's a twist tie. I'm going to go in between this area. So I am going to have to move some of that ribbon so I can get my wires in there. Y'all, see how just adding that simple bow, and again, for those of you that are like, how do you keep it from getting sucked in? Don't pull it so tight back here. It doesn't have to be so tight. Look, it's snug. It's right in position where I want it to be. And now I'm just going to take and curl up some of those. All right, y'all, have a great Monday. I got to go catch a meeting. Have a good one.